Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all the honors, the praises, the glory belongs to my Lord and Savior. His name is Yahweh, Baisham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Wahavakar Kodash. Honors to the apostles that are in the Holy Spirit, and to the hopeful elect across the globe, and to the few, I mean the very few, brothers and sisters listening and also learning in hopes of being saved within these last days, because we're living in the last days of the last days. And I really want to touch up on this topic, and it's based on, I don't usually do pure videos on it because it's still within the scriptures. This thing that they're calling MK Ultra and Sex Kitten, or did they call it beta programming? Remember, when you wake up to this truth, guess what's going to happen? We go to Corinthians first, about the veil being removed. The veil removed. Okay. This is 2 Corinthians 3 and 13. Check this out. Not as Moses, which put a veil over his face, but the children of Israel could not steadfastly look to the end of which abolished, which was the law, but their minds were blinded. For unto this day remaineth the same veil untaken away in the reading of the Old Testament. Right? Which veil was done away with? It says Christ, Mashiach. Right? So what was that veil? The veil was the blindness. The veil was a curtain. Spiritual blindness. But now that's been removed. Who has removed the veil? And this goes into the temple. Within the temple, what did you have? You had the holiest of holiest, and you had the ark. Where the holy of holiest were, only the priest could go there, the high priest. So who's behind that veil? Yahweh Shai. What's he done? Remove that veil. So therefore, if he's removed that veil, guess what? You're able to see. Okay? So it states here, the verse emphasizes the transformative power, turning to the Lord for clarity and insight. So now, the things you never knew, or the things you did want to know, the Lord's giving you clarity over it. And one of the things He's giving us clarity over is today's society and the programming, which we are all under, by the way. We will all grow up under the programming of this system, whether you want to believe it or not. So let's talk about beta, this program, and these colors and these signs that you will see people wearing. Some of them are aware, some of them are not aware. Everything is programming. Everything is frequencies as well, and energy. Okay? So, we're going to go to Psalm 64. I'm going to jump straight to 2. Hide me from the secret plots of the wicked, from the rebellion of the workers of iniquity. These would be the ones that rule. From the rebellion of the workers of iniquity, who sharpen their tongue like a sword. This is through legislation. Right? And bend their bow to shoot their arrows, even bitter worse. They may shoot in secret at the perfect. Right? So this is what they do. Right? They try to attack people secretly, covertly. Okay? Whatever way possible. And it says, who sharpen their tongue like a sword and bend their bows to shoot their arrows, even bitter worse. They may shoot in secret at the blameless. That would represent the elect. Suddenly do they shoot at him, and they do not fear. So what? When it says shooting, what does this mean? These are devices, these are schemes, these are plots, these are things that the enemy does. They encourage themselves. Example, I've already told you, sometimes, remember, there's different schemes that this man has. Sometimes he does pay construction workers and, what do you call it, contractors to wire up your house, to spy on you, to put certain tech within the floor and all that. This man has the money to do that, whether you like it or not. Okay, he can hire people to study you, study your brain, study your body dynamics. He can hire people to do that. Okay, to do a search on the people, to do a study, to experiment on the people. They encourage themselves in the evil matter. So they all get together. They talk of laying snares secretly. Alright? Key thing, secretly. Okay? Secretly. So they come up with different ideas on what to do, how to plot, how to scheme. They talk of laying snares secretly. I had a truck. When was this? It was last week. And this truck was outside from morning to about 6:30 in the evening, and it was a Stingray truck. So they can hire these people. Sometimes it's government, sometimes it's not. Most time it is government. Sometimes it's police, because police do have these vans as well. Believe it or not, they have a whole load of vans, and you're telling me they don't have technology in these vans? But the police have this technology as well. So what they do is basically they get together and they talk of laying snares secretly. They say, "Who shall see them?" So their whole thing is, well, nobody else sees. It's fine. Nobody else sees. We got a badge, you know. We got the law in our pocket, which they don't. Okay. They say, "Who shall see them? They devise iniquities. They have perfected a shrewd scheme. Both the inward thought and the heart of man is deep." So this ain't just law enforcement, construction workers that are being paid. It's also scientists and psychologists. They're the ones that run the program. And you're always going to have a handler. Okay? So beta is referred to as sexual programming of slaves, which is, I've told you that, trafficking. The program eliminates all learned moral convictions and stimulates the primitive instinct, which would be what? The carnal nature. Okay? So when it says primitive, let's go to Romans. Primitive, what's your primitive nature? Your base, your lower nature. Go to Romans 8. And when we jump straight to 6, for to be carnally minded is death, but to be spiritually minded is life and peace. Because to be carnally minded is enmity against God, for it is not subject to the law of God. So, if the enemy knows that, he wants you to be carnal, he wants you to think carnally about everything. And when I mean everything, I mean everything. Because the carnal mind is enmity against God. Friction. So that's why it says here to basically drive you to primitive instincts, devoid of inhibitions. Catwaters may come out as a level known as kitten programming. It is the most visible kind of programming, as some female celebrities, models, actresses, singers have been subject to this kind of programming in popular culture. Clothing with feline prints often denote kitten programming. Beta is the second Greek letter and represents the sexual models and sex authors and programmers are creating. The primitive part of the brain is involved in this type of programming, which this is done through technology. An early sexual abuse event will be used to anchor this programming. So, not all, but most of these people have had to deal with some type of sexual abuse. Okay, because what does that do? That weakens them. That it traumatizes them. See, these people know about the psyche. If you can have a certain amount of trauma, that can lead to demonic possession. Fear, trauma, that can lead to a certain level of, if it's not dealt with. Okay? These sexual states will develop as sexual abilities that are far beyond what the public is aware. Even possible, they also receive the worst kind of abuse far beyond what most people's imagination can picture. Okay? So they're probably getting tortured. Better authors generally see themselves as cats. And you got this picture here of Kate Perry, a little child on a Vogue photo shoot. And the dark occultists, these are, I already knew that. It's run by, yes, dark occultists. In other words, i.e., witches, Satanists, who run the entertainment industry, utilize fashion as a means of occult communication to others in the know. Okay, so this is how they communicate through fashion and certain dress code, indicating through symbolism the individuals they have under their control as a literal sex slave. So when you see there are certain patterns, that's an indication to the others that yeah, they've got them. Okay, and I'm not going to read all of this because I know about this already. So it says it's a method of communication and it shows the white instincts brought out in a slave via Project Monarch's beta. When triggered, will perform any action or sex act required by the handler. So you're able to, if you know what you're doing, you're able to trigger this woman to commit a sex act required by the handler. I've told you about this. You know, when you look up the word zombie, what did it say? It said someone that's animated by witchcraft and someone that's remotely controlled. Your neural monitoring, these are the same people. It's the same people. You do know these people, they're being remotely controlled as well. You know that, right? By a handler. And I've told you, your handler is a high level warlock or witch. And how much do you want to bet they're, most of the time, they're old people or in their mid age? Most of them are old, right? This form of mind control essentially destroys the sacred feminine within the female victim, turning them into nothing more than a piece of meat to be used and abused by their handler. So you got to be careful. That's why I say you have to be careful when you're out here, man. At any given time, women, however, are not the gender who suffer from this form of problem, as many men have undergone monarch props signifying animal fit clothing they wear. So it's also men that wear this as well. Okay, not just women. Okay, um, and this has a lot to do with the excuse me, excuse me, the entertainment industry. Had a bit of wind there. Excuse me, Slovakia. And it says education horrendous. Some of these activities that they do are horrendous, ultimately non-support to industries who are perpetrating these crimes against humanity. This is done by that military complex, and perverts can get their hands on this technology, and this is how they can control a lot of people. It's all programming at the end of the day. But if you have a strong mind, you're not going to fall victim to this type of this programming, and a little bit of torture involved as well to break their will. That's why if you hear anyone saying around you, anyone saying, break, break him, break, he's not breaking, you better get away from those type of individuals because they're dangerous. All right. If you hear anyone saying anything like that, get away from them. Um, I'm just reading this comment by Angela. Infrared, a tech that delves into 7 hertz, which is the same frequency as a human alpha rhythm. Um, and they would try to attack this woman, saying they would try to attack your organs as well. This is like some type of death cult. And destroy brain processing and liquidate internal organs. Also can induce stroke, the entire platoon destruction. I've heard a little of this with regard to the harp. So this is just comments that are being made about this Baba Kasha, Baba Kasha, Baba Kasha. They're just explaining how frequencies are used because that's what's used basically. Okay, so I'm not gonna go into too much of this. That's what's used, and they would try to use these things upon your brain, and they will also try. Most of the time, they use it when you're sleeping because that's when you're most vulnerable. So just know this is nothing but programming, and that's what it is basically. Programming. Okay, but the people that do it is from higher up, with the elites. Then they have the overseers of it. The overseers of it are obviously the military complex and so forth, and they're under this same don't get it twisted, they're under this mind control as well. So don't just think, well, they're no, they're under the same thing. They're under the exact same thing. Uh, it's a it's quite sinister. When you read some of the things, it's quite sinister because what they're trying to do is they're trying to break the will of someone through methods of torture. So that's sadistic. These are also The people that would do this type of thing, they would have to be sadistic and, like I've told you before, psychopathic and highly narcissistic. Because anyone in their right mind is not even gonna think about that. Who's gonna think about that type of thing? Doing that type of thing. Hmm? There you go. But like I said, it's all programming. And I want to go to Romans 12. All right. It's all programming. Let's go to Romans 12. I beseech you, therefore, go to verse 2. And do not be conformed to this world. Ooh, conformed, meaning we're formed to the image of. But be transformed by the renewing of your minds. So we need to renew our minds daily. Renewing, right? Renew your minds. So yeah, your mind can renew every day, but you may prove that is good, acceptable, perfect will of God. So you can renew your minds, man. Get out in nature. That will help as well because we are surrounded by frequencies and EMF, and that's not good. It's not good for your body. It's not good for your mind. These people want you to be like a comatose. They want you to be comatose, dumb, like a zombie. All right. That's why I always say, move around, man. Go out into the wilderness, man. But they're even using this, bro. I've got news for you. They're using this type of technology in the wilderness as well. How do I know? Because I've witnessed it. Okay, I told you it's a form of mind control technology. It's a cultic technology. I done that video a couple of days ago, right, about the neuron monitoring, how it works and all that, how it grabs onto energy. It grabs that energy. So if you have any TV appliances, it grabs onto that energy. Okay, including the energy in your body as well. That's why I always say get out, make sure you're grounding, which is so important. You're grounding because when you're grounding, you're also getting these metals out of your system. Because listen, you definitely have some metals in your system from this technology. It's called graphene. Let's type in graphene quick. Graphene. Okay. Graphene. A lot of people are not privy to this. Graphene is a variety of element carbon which naturally causes small amounts of graphene. Interlocks, sheet of interlocked atoms as hexagons carbon atom. So it's graphene. So these are little pieces of carbon. And this comes off the technology. And this is what's in your body. That's why if you wash with some sea salt, you will see black stuff come off your body. That's what it is, technology. But they don't want you to know about this. All right? They don't want you to know about this type of stuff. Okay? The chemtrails and all that stuff as well, Baba Kishar. And this is how they're able to, what's the word? Transmit to you. And you're able to feel it. The only way you can kind of beat that type of thing is if you, I told you already, you up your energy level and your frequency, and you eat good as well. Okay, because there's a lot of metals in the food you're eating as well, believe it or not. Okay, even the vegetables you buy. So I don't want to veer off topic, but the best thing to do is be transformed by the renewing of your mind that you may prove what is good, acceptable, perfect will of God. So renew your mind, and they can control the minds of people to try to turn them against you. How do I know? Because they've tried it and they're still trying it through technology. So now, if they can't control you, are you telling me they can't use technology to control other people? Are you telling me they can't do that? Look at what was his name? Not Marilyn Manson. I forgot the guy's name now. All right. Who was that serial killer? Hold on just a minute. Why do all these serial killers? What did they say? They said they were hearing voices. All these serial killers said they were hearing some type of voices or something. So what was that? That was some type of V2K. They were experimented. What's that guy's name? It's not, what's it? With the long hair. He said he was hearing, he was a subject to this type of thing. A lot of you don't understand that. Alright? And so forth. Because they were being experimented on. Right? And yeah, most people don't realize that. Right? So now this technology, people that are not strong-minded, they can be used to come against you and do you harm if they're not thinking right. That's why I'm always cautious of someone that's not able to really think for themselves, man, because they can be easily manipulated. Okay. And there is a little bit of, well, not a little bit, a lot of ritual abuse that's involved in this program as well. And you guess what? You can tie this in to what you want to call gang stalking. Or you can tie it into that. It's pretty much the same thing. Because what do you see with gang stalking? What do you see? You see witches, right? Witches, people dressed in black, people trying to circle other people. That's all ritual abuse. But it's kind of hard to break someone that's already been traumatized and that's got over that trauma. So don't get it twisted. We can do all things through the Lord Jehovah by Sham Yahushai. Fret not because of evildoers, for evildoers shall be cut down. So you got people, they get addicted to this technology, and because they've used it on so many people, they get like a kick, a buzz, a sadistic kick out of it. So it's like a buzz to them, you know. It's like a type of buzz to them because they're thinking like, what you mean to tell me with this technology I can see through someone's house and they could be a little perv? Well, of course they get a kick out of it, but in the wrong hands, it can be dangerous. Okay. Mm. Yeah, this stuff in the wrong hands can be dangerous, but if it's in the right hands, it can be used for good. Okay. So just making you aware of this, man. Right? Just making you aware of it. Because I know about this thing firsthand. I can actually speak about this firsthand. Why? Because they tried this with me. And some of your parents were subjects of this program as well. How would you know? Because you may have been a child and they were wearing these type of things, or they may have had, a tattoo of a butterfly or whatever. That's a sign of mind control. When you see the butterfly and they have tattoos, that's a mind control. So a lot of you wasn't even aware that some of your families were also under mind control. Okay, that's why you could have been targeted. That's something simple as that. Your mother, your father, or it could have just been your mother, right? And they targeted you because you know you're not. You're the child. So this is real stuff. It's not made up. And sometimes, yeah, they go say if you're not joining a cult or the little gang, sometimes they'll sacrifice your mother. Because I've heard stories of that. I've heard many stories of that. They kill your mother, they kill your father, right? To send a message to you, they do that because, and also they do this because they made a covenant and they didn't keep up with their end of the bargain. Because this is all tied into covenants and cults and all that thing there as well. That's why I always saying just stick to the scriptures, man, and you'll be okay. Okay. As I'm doing this lesson right now, well, as soon as I woke up, I had people basically trying to do that MK Ultra. They tried to do it to me. Well, not all the time. Sometimes it had it yesterday. They were trying to do it yesterday as well. And there's patterns. There's patterns to it. There's patterns. They try to do it on Fridays because I'm good at picking up on these patterns. So mostly at nighttime, they would try it as well. Nighttime and early morning. Okay, they tried it. Oh, they just turned it they just turned it off now. You see, these are cowards, bro. These are cowards. These are a lot of these people. I'm not being horrible. A lot of these people have homosexual tendencies, and some of them may like children as well. This technology can be used to control someone and to spy on them covertly. So these are like you got to be careful of these type of people. It's not everyone, but remember about the narcissist. The narcissist is a psychopath, covert psychopath. Okay, and they don't take no as an answer. They see no as a disrespect. So you can't put it past them. These type of people, I've studied them. I know because I grew up around this type of stuff. But I managed to get away. Right? That's why they're angry because I managed to get away from the narcissist. These type of people, if you say no, they see that as a offense. They see that as, oh my gosh, you mean to tell me he's turning me down? He's setting a boundary. So what they would do is they would try to violate that boundary. These type of people, narcissists, they will hack phones. And we're talking about, these are strangers. These are people that don't know you. They will hack phones. Um, if they can, if they know someone that knows your family, they'll try to get into your family's ear. This is how wicked these people are. So they have people planted outside your family's house as well. Remember, they have a network, and they would do a lot of dark, sinister stuff. If that don't work, they would try some dark rituals because they are part of a coven. So a lot of this, what I'm speaking about, it also has to do with narcissism as well, bro. They want to be you, but they can't be you. They see your gifts as well, but they can't have them gifts, man. So again, it ties in with the same thing. Check the pattern. Just check the pattern. They do things in cycles. Remember, what's that term? Narcissist abuse, right? So they call it, right? Narcissist abuse. Oh, hold on a minute. So if they call it narcissism abuse, right? They call it that, right? So hold on a minute. The topic that we're speaking about is not it a form of programming? Is it? There's forms of abuse, right? So hold on. Where does the narcissist fit in? He fits into this. He or she, right? I'll say he. They fit into it. That's why I gotta say, the Lord. You got to thank the Lord for Him showing you certain things and how you were able to escape that, and you wasn't subject to it. I always say, wherever this type of thing goes on, you're always gonna have a narcissist. Because when you think about that term, what do you think about? Control. Control. The narcissist is not. You can't self-regulate. That's what you need to know. The narcissist, they're not gonna self-regulate. So if you're strong, if you're someone that's calm, cool, collective, you don't really panic, worry about too much stuff, when a narcissist cleaves onto them, he admires it, but he also sees that as a threat. Why? Because a narcissist needs chaos. They live in chaotic environments. They can't sit in a room where it's just quiet, no noise. So guess what they would do? Look for drama or create drama around them. That's why I say they control the matrix. They look for drama. Anywhere you see noise, a large amount, you're going to find a narcissist there. Why? Because they can't self-regulate. So one of the ways they self-regulate, and we're still on the topic of mind control, is through control. That's why they will start, sometimes some of these people will slam doors. That's regulate. Some of these people don't even realize they're doing it. Some people will slam doors because it's a way to regulate their own emotions, because that's a form of power, right? Some people think, well, not all, some people think power is noise. Make your presence known. They think that's power. That's not power. You just made your presence known. That's not power. You know, you can make your presence known and still be secretive. So you got to understand how the minds of these cretins or these low level beings, because they are low level in terms of energy and vibration. You got to understand how they operate. They operate off energy as well. Energy, right? That's why a lot of them also energy harvesting, which also ties into the topic that we're speaking about. Yeah, they energy harvest. Why? Because they're depleted of energy. Why? Because they don't have it, because they sold their soul. Most narcissists have sold their soul, right? So this is an empty mixer. So therefore, they don't have energy. So guess who they really go for? They go for people that have lights. That's what they seek to dim that light or to destroy that light. That's why I say get your ass away from the narcissist. Because if you're around it for too long, they seek to destroy that light or dim it and try to have you question your own self and your identity. Why? Because they don't have no identity. Actually, they do have an identity. The devil's identity. Bro, I know how this works now, man. I know about the narcissist, the ins and outs, man, how they do things undercover, in secret. And stop calling it MPD. Stop calling it, well, it's a mental health. Yeah, it is, but read the scriptures. When you read the scriptures, every sickness is a demon. And what's a disease? A disease is when your body's at dis-ease. Another reason. This is why they use what you would call a form of energy weapons or whatever to create synthetic illnesses. Synthetic illnesses. So really, you could be fit, healthy, you don't have no illnesses, but with the frequencies, guess what they're trying to do? Create illnesses. That's another thing they're not telling you about as well. It's called synthetic. So you're perfectly healthy, get checkups every month, but the doctor's like, hold on a minute, there's something here, and hold on, you know how your body works, right? So you're like, hold on a minute. So what could be the problem? You might have a group of narcissists that are psychopaths using technology, trying to radiate you, give you cancer, trying to manipulate your muscle structure. Bro, that's what I'm saying, bro. Don't put it past. What one person won't do, another person will. The narcissist doesn't have a limitation. They're a narcissist. What do you expect? What do you expect? If you get bitten by a snake, you can't say, oh, that snake bit me. It's a flipping snake. What do you expect? Oh, the snake just bit me. Bro, it's a snake. What do you expect? The same with a narcissist, bro. Don't expect no compassion. Don't expect no mercy from them. Don't expect no, what do you call it? Empathy. They don't have that. If you have that, that's what they're looking at. And they either want that or they want to destroy that because they don't have that. A lot of this stems back from their childhood because they're not going to tell you. A lot of these people, they went through a rejection, or their family, they went through a certain level of trauma. And there's a saying, hurt people, damaged people, hurt other people. Not all the time. Because you do have people that heal from that, but then you have others that don't heal from it. And they end up abusing. They end up abusing others. So it's like a vicious cycle. Get out of that cycle, man. When you see it, break it. And don't engage in it. Because this is some real stuff. Okay, real stuff. Alright? And this is how they turn into, not all, some, turn into predators. Why? Because they weren't raised the right way. Or they never done nothing about it. So they grew up and they turned bitter. And this is all they knew. Simple as that. So I'm going to shut off here because this lesson's gone on for a bit long. But yeah, Psalm 64, right, we went into. The inquire diligent search, which is what? Basically the programming, whatever you want to call it, MK Ultra or whatever. We all grew up under this programming. But when you get into these scriptures, your mind gets renewed all over again. And this is where you're going to get people that are angry. Some people, because now that was a script. That programming is a script. Excuse me, I got gassed. Slakia about that. It's a programming. Okay? So the programming is a script that you were given. Whether you knew it was a script, you were given it. But you know when you come to this truth, things start changing. So yeah, that pretty much explains it all. I hope this was edifying. I want to shut off here, and you brothers, make sure you're safe out here. Make sure you roll safe, and you're observant, you're circumspect, not paranoia. Just observant, observe your surroundings. Make sure you're safe, and stay prayed up, fast if need be, because that strengthens your spirit. And do your thing, man. Do your thing. Stay in the scriptures and get out in nature. Drink a lot of water as well, because they try to deplete you. Some of these people, psychopaths, will try to deplete you of oxygen. Remember, they got different methods. These people have different, Satan's dealing with them, man. And they have different methods on how to try to harm someone because they're psychos. What do you expect from a psycho? Right, look up Ted Bundy. This guy was a serial killer, right? Not just Ted Bundy, you had many people like him, right? Fucking psychotic. Baba Kishar. You want to be in a safe environment, right? Where you don't have to look over your shoulder. You don't have to worry about, oh, what's this guy doing? That's what mindset you want to be. You don't have to be look over your shoulder. I need to worry about this guy when he's coming in. Is he going to do something stupid? All right. I'm going to shut off here. Lord willing, this was edifying. Until the next time, shalom to the hopeful elect. Shalom.